Hello, everyone. Welcome to this month's edition of Platform Explorer Spotlight Session. Today, I'm really, really excited because we have a very special guest. And then just before I introduce her, and of course, actually, I would eventually hand over to her to do a brilliant job of introducing herself. Just wanted to, share a bit of tips. Of course, this is Platform Explorers. Platform Explorers, we started the community, say, a year ago. And then the goal of the community is really helping people, build careers, build confidence alongside, their careers, right? Helping you prepare for job opportunities, staying in touch with, industry updates. And today's topic is quite exciting because, as we all know, AI is shaping everything around technology and even beyond technology as well, right? So that's why I'm really excited that today we're joined by, we love to call her the chief co-pilot, Femke. So I'll hand over to you to, introduce yourself.
Thank you so much. First of all, I want to thank you and of course the team behind this, because it's really excited to hear all the things that you are doing in the community and sharing the knowledge, but it's special for people learning about how they can learn what's happening in the field. I think it's amazing what you both doing. So thank you for that. So I'm Femke Cornelissen. I'm Chief Co-Pilot at Wordell. And one of the things that I do is like building a lot of communities. I could say a lot of communities, but I really have a passion for helping others and sharing knowledge. I think that's one of the things that I have a passion for myself, not only as a chief co-pilot, but in a lot of my free time, I'm exploring, helping others and finding their way or their path. What I do for Wordell, probably is really nice to share that as well, is going to customers, sharing where the agentic workplace is going, and giving them some inspiration around what's happening in their industry. And I'm Microsoft MVP, so I'm proud of that as well. Working a lot together with product teams and finding out what can be the next step, or giving feedback around the products. Working together on content as well. So it's a busy but really fun thing to do. And I'm a mom of two. I think it's also really nice to share. Before we started, I needed to put this away. This is normal. It's real life. So
yes.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant. Yeah. Thanks so much, Femke. I'm also a mom and also of two, right? So I can imagine just how, busy it can get, just trying to, you're navigating your career, you're trying to take care of the home front and just, really balance it all, right? So that actually takes me to my first question. A huge part of this program or of this conversation is really around getting to know more about your career trajectory and, how you got to where you are, and then how those who might be aspiring to also get to such positions, how they can do that, right? So, checking your profile, of course, we can see that your career spans across, AI leadership, the agentic workplace, and, modern Microsoft 365 ecosystem. So, what pivotal moments or decisions helped to shape your path into the space? And, what would your advice be based off on that to someone who is also looking to start out and follow such a trajectory?
Yeah. So I think there are a few things. My career probably is taking my career in the beginning, where I started in my career. I started as a photographer. So I was not in tech at all when I started in tech. And the first advice that I want to give, when I started in tech, I did everything. So all the opportunities came in, I said yes. So from marketing to sales to technical to consultancy, even the CEO's agenda, everything I did at that time. And I learned so many things because I have looked in all the different kind of departments. I learned what customers really need, what my teammates want to know. So I think you don't have to say all the time yes, but I think being open and having an open mindset, starting somewhere, bring you actually to the next as well. And I think if you're curious, I think curious is one of the thing as well, that it's really interesting to finding out what you really like, and as well where are the opportunities in the company as well. So one of the things that I saw in my career is that I always had a like mindset, okay, what is the thing that our company is needed, and where is some opportunity that I can land as well. And then I'm starting to explore, learn, and say, okay, this is what I want to do. I'm probably the first one always, but I want to be the one who want to get there. So I think that's probably something that I do by myself, and something that is really easy to do for me. But you can learn that as well by seeing the opportunities. The other thing is, I am a worker who is not working from 9 until 5. I do extra things. And I think a lot of people, I don't want to say everyone needs to do that, but people going to see that if you are doing a little bit extra. So, for example, for the community, when I started like almost 10 years ago, I always went to the office 1 hour before, and I always go back home 1 hour after. So I had 2 hours a day extra, and I spent it on making some content, learning, creating content. So it was not always in my time of the company itself. And it's an effort that you need to do. Now I do it for my role in my job as well. I do it sometimes in the evenings as well, and still it costs a lot of time. But it was an effort, and it was a choice to do it in my free time. So that's as well something that you can learn, I think, and that's something that's really nice to share. The other thing is that I think you need to give something before you get something back. You don't always need to ask back. And I think that's one of the things in the community, is that you share your knowledge, and it's not always that you see that people actually giving you something back, right? For example, I'm here with you now in a podcast. We met like 1 year ago, I think, right? And you said to me, like, Femke, your content, you helped me with learning as well. So thank you for that. And I never knew that. So what get I back? I'm here in the spotlight with you. So that's fabulous. I think that's something that you need to have in your mind. The things that you are doing is not always visible, but in the end, it always is giving, and you give something and you get always something back.
Yeah. That's lovely. That's lovely. Thank you so much for sharing, Femke. And like the funny thing is, right before this session, I was chatting with Rachel, and then we're really speaking about the effort that goes into content, right? And I know you're one person that I know is quite intentional about that. Like, I come online, I'm like, yep, Femke is giving us very quality, content. And that's the key word there. It's quality. It's not just about, sharing. It's also around like, how is this resonating with people? How is it helping them solve a problem, right? And going back to your point, honestly, I remember when we met a year earlier, I was really like, I've been in consulting for 10 years now, right? And then one thing with consulting is sometimes you can just get sucked into what you're doing, and then you sort of lose sight of how the world is evolving, right? So I remember then coming on LinkedIn and seeing your post. I'm like, okay, this is what's new with Copilot. This is how AI is evolving. And it always kept me thinking, okay, I need to learn more, right? So it's really valuable. And I think I'll take that point from yourself, right? So bring value, right? And then just always like put your hands up when you have the capacity. So thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the best advice that I can give. And the other one is like, I was a photographer and I didn't have anything in tech. I had no clue where I started. But what I have learned, and probably that's as well good learning from others is you always can have the best certifications and you always can keep learning. And I think we are now in AI that we still need to keep learning every day, and everything is changing really fast. But everyone has skills somewhere that is most important, and it's not always the technical skills. Like for me,
Yes.
when I was a photographer, it was creativity, it was entrepreneurship, it was like all kind of curiosity. And I think the same things come back now in what I do now for my role and in my job. And it's not always a technical perspective. It's making the transition from technical to the creative way, or finding out how things working. So I think the biggest lessons that I have learned from the past years is finding out what you like and what the thing is that makes you spark, and then you say, okay, but this is who I am and I'm good in this. And we all, as like most of the women, are saying a lot that we say we are afraid of sharing, or we are afraid to step forward, or afraid to show up who we are. And I think men have that as well, probably, but most of the time I speak with women about this subject. But so learning about who you are is, I think, one of the best things that you can do. And you do that to say to a lot of things yes, and finding out the different kind of roles that are in different kind of companies.
Yeah, that's brilliant. So actually, this brings me to my next question, which would be more like technology focused, right? So I know you've worked extensively with, various tools like SharePoint, Power Platform, and of course, Copilot, right? What would your advice be to early career professionals or people who are looking to begin that journey into automation? So what would your, advice be to such persons on ways that they can confidently propose, solutions, or, build skills in those areas to actually solve real business problems and challenges?
Yeah. Maybe I can go back as well a little bit on myself and how I explore that. So
Okay.
I've been for a long time a SharePoint consultant, and I had no experience before that on SharePoint. So I had the opportunity to finding out in a company and have conversations with as well our customers, and learning what works well and what doesn't work well. And one of the things that I have learned the most of, like learning on SharePoint, but as well I think now on Copilot it's the same, is find some communities around you who have the knowledge there as well, where you can ask questions about problems that customers have, for example. So I know that there was one thing I went to Ignite. It was like 2018. I still remember. And then I went to Ignite, and I was with a group of like Dutch people. And all the time, everyone has some questions around SharePoint, around, okay, this is a problem that I have. Do someone know the answer? Or I start sharing as well around things that I know. And then I learned that they are really valuable for them as well. So I think like finding community around you that all want to learn is something that's probably the best advice that I can give. So you can learn by yourself, of course. You have Microsoft Learn, and you have all kind of platforms that you can do. And I think having a certification will probably help you as well a lot here. But finding people around you with the same knowledge, or I think that's the best way to do it.
That's brilliant. Yeah, I think, and actually going back to your point, I think this is something that also worked for me, because like you really, if you do not have community in your learning journey, it makes it a lot more difficult, because then it looks like, oh, okay, am I doing the right thing? Am I really, solving the problem the right way? And sometimes we just need to have that second pair of eyes to say, yep, I think you're on the right path, right? And then that, of course, opens doors to other opportunities as well. So yeah, thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah, another thing that you can do is after that you learn something, you can write about it. And probably you will think, okay, everyone knows this, but you will see if you guys start writing the things that you also learned, other people can learn as well and have the same issues. So I think it's nice to get that in your system, that you see, okay, I've heard this like 3 times at different kind of customers. This can be a bigger problem. Maybe I can help someone else to solve it as well. I found it.
Yeah, actually, that reminds me of, like, for example, so we had our first for Platform Explorers. We had the first cohort last year. It ran between like March to early June. And I remember one of the things that we charged, that we sort of put forward to the attendees was that you're solving real life problems, but then you need to document it. So we
True.
actually encourage them to actually set up their own GitHub and then post about their work on LinkedIn. Now, it
Yeah,
was a bit difficult for a lot of them because for a lot of people, it was the first time having to set up a GitHub, or even the first time actually doing most of those configurations. But I
yeah,
remember when we had the, graduation ceremony, the closing ceremony, and one of our guest speakers, she was just like wowed because she was like, you know, this is the amount of effort that went into, the projects that they had done, and they were actually solving real problems. Like, these were problems that, a lot of companies or a lot of consultants are still looking at, how can I implement this? And
true.
they were actually able to do it and document. So now it's publicly available to individuals. So, like, it really goes a long way actually putting down your work and penning down your ideas so others can learn from it. And then it helps you also, maybe you're at an interview, it's easier for you to reference, oh, I actually did this and I documented it.
Yeah, true. And I still remember, like, I made my own website. That was my thing. And I remember that I have like 10 people visiting it, like in the month to my website. So there were probably almost no one. But now my website is like going sky high. I changed to English as well. And when I look now to my website, and I'm always like in shock how many people are really visiting the website, but as well from so many different kind of countries. So sometimes it was never ever for me the goal to do that, but now, yeah, things happening that way because people really searching as well for it. And
Yes.
the same thing that I did was like, if there is something new, like everyone shares if there's something new, and hey, we found it. But I think the really purpose is like, okay, but it's new, but what does it really means, right? What is the new technology that's come there? What is changing your work, and what do I think about it? And not only
Mm,
Microsoft, for example, thinks what we're solving. And I think giving your opinion about something is as well. Of course, you always need to think about how you frame it, but I think that's
of
as well
course.
really valuable to do. Yeah. So good advice for people to do that.
Yeah, definitely. And actually, that probably would lead me to the next question, right? So I would put myself in this position first. I remember when I first started my career, and trying to, learn the technology, learn how to, solve the basic business problems and all of that. I really found it hard to translate that into actual impact, right? So, and I'm sure maybe you would have experienced this, or you would know people who might have experienced this, but then, like, many early career professionals, they would literally struggle with translating their actual technical skills into business impact. So how would you, approach understanding a customer's problem and actually ensuring that the technology, solves the right issue?
Yeah, I think you need to have like different kind of skills for this as well to understand this. And I think it's really valuable to have people around you and finding the people who can help you to solve this kind of problems. But first of all, we need to know what is the problem and why are we solving this problem.
Yes.
I think a lot of us thinking about this is a technology and this is how we, from technology perspective, like this is new, this is hype, this is fun, we need to have this. But of course, first of all, we need to think about it in a way of what is actually solving, and what is the problem here. And I think we are even more and more in this situation where we are now with each other around AI. I think this is even more and more important because I think we're going to change our workplace. Like we're going to still have the biggest change in our workplace that is going to happen around the agentic workplace, that we're going to see that we need to work together with the agents even more. And I think from leadership perspective, it's also asking a lot of questions about how we're going to operate in our organization. So if I can give an advice on that, probably for people who are in the workforce and thinking, okay, where do I need to find my way, or how do I even start with building an agent, for example? I think that kind of things you can learn in a really easy way on like Copilot itself, building your first agent, finding out what it is, but also thinking about for yourself that you are now probably working with your email. You send an email out, your tasks, you need to do this, or you have something in your mind that you still need to do and need to operate or need to do different kind of things. But probably in the future, the way of working also going to be different, so that you have an agent who are doing things for you, and you need to think about again about your skills and how you bring value, and even as well what are the things that you really like and what you're enjoying the most. So for all of us, I think we need to understand how you build an agent, what it is, how you can use it, how you can manage your agents. So learning that kind of skills to like understand the system. I need to say that, I think. And as well, this is me, and I'm really good in being a human, of being these kind of things, and be valuable for the organization or for my team. And I think that's like finding people around you from like the perspective, what do we want to achieve? What is our business goal? To, okay, but how can the technology help us? But as well, I think
Mm-hmm.
perspective is really important in that.
Oh, that's brilliant. Yeah, because like for example, I would get to speak to customers like every other day, and the top of the mind topic is always around, how can we secure data in the age of AI, right? It's not just like a lot of businesses are going beyond just adopting AI or just introducing AI to the business. It's now really around how can we actually get users to work with these AI tools. How can we automate processes? How can we bring in, agentic AI and all of that, right?
Yeah,
And now we're starting to also talk around the fact that agents are now like, it's more or less there are co-workers,
sure.
right? So exactly. So how do we make sure that we're actually using them to solve the right business problems? But then of course we continue to stay relevant in our daily work, right? So we continue to do the things that matter to make sure that everything is being done compliantly, that we're actually solving that real problem. So it's quite an interesting topic, to get into when it comes to those, bringing AI into the workplace and then just working alongside AI to remain productive. Um, so actually, so going more in terms of like the recruiting side of things now, right?
Yeah,
So I would assume that, of course, you would have experience with hiring people, mentoring talent as well, getting people to land certain type of jobs and all of that, right? So for you, what would you say makes a job application or an interview stand out? Especially when the candidate might not necessarily have many years of experience in that particular field. Take for example, I'm a fresh graduate, but then I would really love to work with you, from an AI or agentic AI standpoint. But a lot of times we would see job roles like that requiring certain levels of experience. So in such a scenario, what would you say a candidate can do to sort of stand out in their job application or in an interview?
Yeah, that's interesting because yeah, we have, for example, like our Women in Cyber program, where all like new people who are not in the field but learning from around cybersecurity for 12 weeks, and they have their first certification around cybersecurity, the SC 900. That's the first step that they are doing, and then the next step will be, okay, I want to start as a partner, looking for some jobs there. And I get this question a lot. What do I really need to do to get the attention of like a partner? Do I have enough experience? And I think again, um, when you are curious, I think that's the most important thing. So be visible. It feels stupid to be visible, but have like a LinkedIn profile with a picture, with your experience. Why are you on LinkedIn? Sure, what your passion is. I think that's the first step that you really need to do. The second one is, I think, is learning who the company is, where you are want to work. Really learn where they stand for, and as well, what I always say. Not only look at the CV, but as well send some people in organization a message. I think one-on-one helps to get visible as well. So search for the CTO or search, just do it. I know everyone appreciate it if you're doing that, because you have like one step because you really want, saying that you really want to have like a job and why you want to work for example, like the office that I work for Dell. So I think go think of as well out of the box and not only applying from the applying form, because probably there are much more people there. Um, the other thing is that I think it's so visible. Reach out to other people as well. Don't make like a too much AI conversation, but really who you are, because in a lot of things that I see back is people who are really try to be someone because this on the website is says telling that they are need to have all these kind of things. But I think it's really nice to tell more about yourself, and I think that's even more important in where we are now with the different skills that we need in our field. So I think that's something that everyone needs to do. The other thing is, um, like for example, as well, I think communities. I'm coming back to communities as well. For example, we have, if we're talking to security, we have a lot of communities as well around security where a lot of people are, and when you are make yourself visible in the different kind of communities, people really know that you want to learn more about different kind of subjects. So make always helping people are investing the time in seeing more people in the field. Feels,
Yeah.
but it is how it is. If you just keep staying home, don't be visible, don't share anything, and going in the background, I think being visible will really helps a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. Really, we cannot overemphasize the importance of just it can be hard to keep up, and then it really takes that consistency, but then in any way possible, trying to be visible and then taking part in like community exercises and all of that. The funny thing is, for example, I was speaking with a colleague earlier, and then just around, oh, okay, we have communities that we would usually support, and then it doesn't really, like, you do not need to commit to like, oh, okay, I want to be part of the V team, or I need to be the one driving everything. But then if you're able to raise your hand in whatever capacity, and if you do have the capacity to support a community's exercise, then of course do it. It's always like a great learning opportunity, and then you get to like be part as that community evolves, and then of course the skills that you gather from that as well, you're able to then relay that in establishing yourself in that career path. So yeah, I agree with you on that piece.
Yes.
um
Yeah, and as well, like always be thankful. Like we have, like for example, the Women in Cyber program, and when people are putting a picture on LinkedIn, for example, and highlighting the partner who is also there, I think it's a small thing, but it's the extra thing that really helps to get that attention. And people say, "Oh, she really wants to do something," and I think that that's really needed in the time that we are as well, because there are a lot of people who are probably want to work somewhere, and how can you be that one that is doing the extra thing? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The other advice that I want to give, and I think it's a good one as well, I hope so, but you can ask, for example, to go to a company and say, okay, I want to invest in learning, like
Mm.
time, so that you don't have already a job, but say, okay, can I come for 1 day or 2 days, finding out how it is to be in your like security team or in your adoption team, or so I think in that kind of way you're also investing your time in learning what you like and what you don't like, but as well don't really want to have like a job already, but searching for it, what you like, and as well giving your time, because it's as well for an organization a lot of investment, I think, to hire someone with less
Yes.
experience. I think it's cost sometimes like 1 year or probably 2 years to get someone somewhere that they can operate by themselves, for example. So yeah, sharing that you really want is something that is, I think, is important.
Oh, that's brilliant. I like that idea actually.
Good.
Wanting to invest in learning. Yeah, that's actually a very good one,
Practical.
right?
It's not only
Yeah.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
speaking about learning,
Mhm.
um, as you were speaking, I remembered joining a session, and then there was a question put up by a lady, and she was just like, "I want to be honest. I'm tired of learning."
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm learning, like it's a constant evolving journey. Like you're learning one thing, you think you have the technology right, boom, it changes. You
Yeah.
think you understand the methodology, yep, another, something new comes up, right? So, what would you say, like, what habits would you say you've been able to cultivate? Or what tips would you be able to share with individuals in terms of how can we, I would say we, because sometimes it gets overwhelming for me as well. So like how can we build, learning strategies or career practices that really help you to stay adaptable, right? And just help to build, resilience and confidence without getting overwhelmed.
Mhm. First of all, I want to say we think the rest of the world knows everything, and that's not right.
Mm,
That's the first thing that I want to share, because I think we all think that everyone from Microsoft know everything. They don't know, and actually, they probably think, because I'm sure that I know everything, and that's also not true. So it's good to remember that a lot that we think that people know more than actually we think that we know. So, and all the perspective and all the things that you give is something that someone else can learn from. That's as well. But yes, we are. I the other thing is as well. I don't think it stopped with learning. I think it's all
mm,
now in a type that we need to up, because otherwise it like we're chasing so fast that it never stops again. I think it's something that we are in a time that is something that we understand that it really is how it is, and then don't stop anymore. But how you can learn is actually, I think, like asking questions as well around your AI. I think my AI is something that is probably for 3 or 4 hours a day where I ask questions about what is happening here, what do we see here, did I miss something? How is this going to be in this field? What's happening in that kind of industry? So as well, I think a practical human part with my customers, as well asking my AI for advice to make it even more smarter. most of the time in my car when I'm driving and then have co-pilot on and like talking. Like I don't listen to music anymore. I listen to live podcasts as well. It's strange, but I just want to say like we need to think about like do we really need to do like a big certification with a lot of days learning? I think it's always good, right? You need to think about it, but you also can say, okay, this is a subject that is really important that I want to know more, or ask an AI to help you to understand the knowledge there. And I think that is, yeah, one of the things that's really easy to do. The other way is, and sorry again, community again, but like for example, we have the Rockstar Women in AI community where people are making content together. So they are creating content, they're learning around it. I think it's the easiest way to work with someone together, asking questions and learning something around the topic. And you are the expert there as well. So you don't have to do it all by yourself. You can do it together and you learn a lot. Only being in sort of group and just being there and watch what's happening is already something that you learn. And scanning, of course, is better if you asking questions as well or working together on a sort of subject. But I think it's the easiest way to just be there, like nothing to do but be there and that. But yeah, you were right what you were saying. I think the knowledge and the things that we need to learn and everything that we need to keep up is it's a lot. It's a lot. And the other way is probably you need to think about okay, what is my topic? What is my area? Because
Mm.
choose for co-pilots. Now I choose as well the endemic workplace. But you can choose for governance, you can choose for security, but you cannot do it all. And we want to do
Exactly.
it all as well. So choose your expertise and choose where you want to be like updated from. And find some people as well around you who are good in sharing knowledge there. I think like I can say that I do a lot around co-pilots and the agentic workplace, but I think there are a lot of people. I know there are a lot of people who are doing that on security. I know they're doing a lot of that on data governance. So it's easy to open your LinkedIn and say, "Hey, this is nice. I didn't know it yet." Or I know a website where someone is sharing their perspective. Most of the time, are a lot of MVPs who are doing that. So find some different kind of ways. And I think, and that is what I really like around nothing, but what I really like around the MVPs is MVPs are not sharing the knowledge how Microsoft is saying it works. They're sharing in how it is by using it by a customer of what they actually built and sharing afterwards how they did that, right? And I think that's really interesting to see all the MVPs and what they built and what for solutions they made or how can they help with your knowledge. So I think that's as well a super tip finding out.
Yeah, to be honest, I cannot overemphasize how we appreciate the MVP community because, I mean, you guys are like the heroes in the cape. You give us, no, to be honest, because, and this is even something I noticed prior to joining Microsoft, right? I've always worked with, Microsoft partners, and this would have been like I would have MVPs as colleagues, people who you can always turn to, and then
Mm,
you're able to really share that product knowledge and based on, the experience deploying for customers. So it's
mm,
always really brilliant to be able to, go back to a team like that and always get like great feedback and insights that help you solve real problems. So I think, what you shared is really, really amazing because to be honest, even at Microsoft, for example, I work with Microsoft, right? And one of the things that we always push for is a growth mindset.
mm.
Now, growth mindset does not necessarily mean you need to know everything,
No.
right? It's just that willingness to learn, right? And willingness to share that knowledge with others. Now, I could get on a customer call, for example, I'm trying to communicate with a client. I may not necessarily know everything, but I know I have a team of people I can bring in to
Exactly.
support in that communication and to help land that message. So like in technology, it's not really about, no one is an island of knowledge, so to speak, but then it's really around how can we continue to grow, how can we continue to contribute, and then really make impact for ourselves and then for others as well. So thank you so much, Femke, just for the amazing insights and tips that you've shared with us so far.
You're welcome.
um
Mhm.
yeah, so I'll just check if we have any questions. Just a moment, let's see.
Mhm. I hear your kids in the background. It's no problem. It's human.
Okay, so I don't see any questions at the moment, but then, like, if you have any questions, you're tuned in right now, please do not hesitate to drop your questions in the chat. Even following the session, I'm sure Femke would still be very much happy to, respond to inquiries. I found her to be an absolutely amazing person, so please do connect with her. And then, just a quick notice that we would be well, very soon we would be announcing our second cohort for Platform Explorers, and most likely we will be calling out for people who would like to volunteer to be mentors across different workloads. So AI, AI workforce, security, Dynamics 365, and so on and so forth. So if you would like to support the community to help people build practical skills, right? Please do sign up when you see that notice. And then, we're always here to support. So thank you so much, so much, Femke, for joining us today. And we're really glad to have heard from you.
Great, great to do. Thank you so much as well, and hope to see you next time.
Yes, thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.